All right, welcome Spartan fans to the Coaches Show. I am Guy Danhoff. I'm here with head coach, Coach B. Coach, you guys went on the road to play up in Chicago, St. X. You guys had a little bit of a windy game. I don't think it really affected the game too much, but nevertheless, it was a factor. And obviously, you guys played a hard-fought game. And I was wondering if you could assess the game from your perspective.
Well, you said it. It was a hard-fought game. That was a good football team that we played. They were going into that game ranked 6th, and I know because of their early schedule that they dropped a little bit, but it's still a really tough game, good opponent. But I thought our guys battled. We were close there in the fourth quarter to maybe getting some momentum on our side that who knows how it would have finished. But, I was proud of the way we played. We just got to get a few things cleaned up to play at that top level.
Yeah, and if Spartan fans, I want to let you guys know, I believe, and verify this for me, I believe that this was the closest game in score that you guys have had in school history to a top 10 ranked team. Is that right?
Yeah, I can't confirm it, but
it's
I
pretty
think
close.
so.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
I think it is. Probably if you look at point differential at the end, and of course they scored with about three minutes to go on the clock.
Right.
It was 27-7 prior to that, so that definitely would be one of the closest that we played a top 10 team for sure.
So one of the real positive things that we saw, again, when you look at the statistics on third down conversions, you guys were over 50%. You actually had better third down conversions than did St. X. The other thing is you guys had over 300 yards of total offense.
Yeah, I thought the offense did some really good things throughout the night on Saturday night. That was a big deal for us, keep the defense off the field. Defense, we didn't have the best game that we've played against St. X, which was a little bit disappointing. We went back and really critiqued them on film and made some adjustments, and some of them we had to make some personnel adjustments just to kind of have a little bit of a wake-up call to a few guys. But by and large, I thought the offense did some really good stuff, moved the ball. Third downs was a big point of emphasis for us throughout the week. It is every week, but we really had to hone in on it because of where we were at throughout the first 2 games. We were not very good on first down. So credit all in the world to the offensive players, really took it upon themselves to own third down, and that's ultimately what you got to do in this game if you're going to be successful. You've got to be successful in the turnover battle, and you got to be successful on third down. Now, unfortunately, we didn't win the turnover battle, but we did a lot better on third downs.
Right. So what I want to let Spartan fans and remind you about a key point in the game. There was roughly 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. You guys had just on the previous drive went 90 yards with your freshman quarterback. He plunged in from 2 yards. You came back on the very next drive, drove pretty much to the length of the field yet again. You guys got down to the 6-inch line on a 4th down play. And again, I know we didn't make it, but had we made it, the score would have been 14-27, and we're only down 2 scores at that point in the game. So, talk about having a chance again, like we've been talking about for the last 3 weeks, putting the team in a position to win. You guys were that close. So walk us through what happened on that 4th down play, because I think a lot of us are still confused as to what happened there.
Yeah, that was a tough situation that just didn't go our way. From our vantage point, we had called a play. We had taken the timeout, make sure we had the play we wanted. It was 4th and about a half a yard, and the momentum was definitely in our favor at the time. Now, you never know how that's going to play out in the end, but the momentum was definitely in our favor. We had a play call. We opted to go on 2 in the situation. I thought our guys handled the situation great. They sat in there, didn't move. 2 of their defensive linemen jumped. It wasn't called. I thought that there was contact that was made, but the officials said they didn't see it, and they didn't obviously make the call. And then we ended up jumping then shortly thereafter, and we got moved back 5 yards. So, it was really unfortunate that was the turn of events that happened because of the fact of this, the huge play that was at the time. And but there's some things that we got to get fixed on our end as well. You and I were talking earlier. There's some easy answers to make sure that flag gets called, and that's something that we've coached these guys through. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you know, we got to make our own luck before that point,
Right,
and
right.
you know, be a little bit closer. But it was definitely a big play, and I was really proud of how those guys didn't give up. They kept fighting.
Right. So, Coach, one of the questions that I want to ask, and certainly this was a question that I get asked quite a bit, and only because, again, we didn't host the broadcast, they did, and their announcers were commenting, you know, towards the end of the third quarter, certainly in the fourth quarter, and it was this. They were saying about how, you know, you would think at those stages of the game that the scores were reversed because they were the ones playing with a very up-tempo pace, and we were playing not only just with, you know, kind of like a regular set pace, but also when you pour out in the freshman, he's literally running to the sideline, running back, running to the sideline, running back, and it didn't seem like there was a sense of urgency. I was wondering if you could comment on that.
Yeah, can we have Harry back? He didn't ever ask me these hard questions.
Hey, no, that's what happens when you have a big social media following and people are asking you these questions.
No, I'm playing with you. No, that's a great question. You know, I think there's two sides of that. Number one is St. X is an up-tempo team, so that's who they are to begin with.
Right.
So, you know, for them to slow down is a little against who they are, and that's part of the reason why they stay up-tempo.
Right.
The other side of it was more on us. You know, we want to be more ball control, but also having the freshman, bringing Lucas into the game at the time. You know, Coach Williams and Coach Code deserve a lot of credit because at halftime, we realized that with him in the game, we weren't going to be able to run the exact same offense that we were running.
Sure.
You know, we had to move him around a little bit more, get him in some situations. Obviously, a very athletic kid, but being a little bit shorter and having big linemen in his face, you know, we couldn't just hold him in the pocket on three-step drops and stuff like that. So, you know, I give them a ton of credit. They really pieced some things together to revamp the offense at halftime, give him a much smaller playbook, realizing what he was capable of.
Right.
And that's really what led to it. The stuff that was on his wristband wasn't going to match up to the things that they really needed to do, and that's why he had to come over to the sideline and get the play. But, you know, at that time as well, you know, as the game went on, had we got that score and stuff like that, we would have had the ability to go more up-tempo and bring him over when the clock stopped. But at the time, what we were really looking for was positive plays. You know, let's see where we can get, because we were still down 21. You know, and if you totally go up tempo and now you're going 3 and out and having to punt, you know, that game can get away from you. So we really needed to just see where we were at and keep going. But a lot of that was due to their ability to really adjust on the fly and give him stuff that he can handle.
Okay, well that's good, because I'll be honest with you, none of us knew that dynamic was even in play. Makes subtle sense now though, when you made the change in quarterback. So anyways, that was one of the questions that I fielded a lot this week. Let's talk about Lucas Rockford. You guys made the decision in this halfway through the second quarter to bring him in. As you know, we did an interview with him yesterday, and I know you've said some really nice things about him, and you have a lot of confidence in him. What is he bringing to the team right now as you guys get ready to go up to River Falls, Wisconsin?
Well, he's a you know, a great young man, great high character kid. You know, we're really fortunate at the quarterback position and really across the board. You know, we spend a lot of time recruiting character, and we have a lot of guys on this team in general that are really high character guys and hardworking guys. You know, Chase and Gunner are no different. So Lucas is really in line with those guys. I think as a young guy, he brings a lot of leadership to the offense and to the huddle, which you've got to have, you know, and Chase and Gunner do that. But for a guy that's young to bring that, it's really exciting, you know. And I think the biggest thing, the reason why we made the change is we just needed a spark, you know. Chase has done a good job. He's worked hard, and things weren't just timing up and working out well. And so we wanted to see what Lucas could do. He's been doing a really good job in practice, and so we made the change, and he showed that he could do some good things in a game against a good football team. So, you know, the biggest thing that we told him is, you know, put in the time, you know, go and own the position. But at the same token, we're never one to just totally hand the keys over and say that it's over. You know, Chase and Gunner's been injured, but he's gotten a few reps this week. But And the other factor is Chase did injure his knee a little bit.
Right.
That weighed into it a little bit. Now he obviously would have kept going.
Right.
But there was just a thing that we needed a spark, and Chase and Gunner, we've had conversations with them that they need to stay ready as well. But we'll see what Lucas can do this week.
Well, there's no question he's a very dynamic player. He's certainly, as we talked about in yesterday's interview, I know you told me this too. One of the great things when you look at him on film is he's constantly looking downfield. So he's looking to still pass, even if he's on the run. But his high school preparation has prepared him to do exactly that.
Yeah, in high school they moved him out of the pocket and they did some different stuff with him as well. He's a really tremendous athlete.
Yeah.
He's showed that throughout training camp that he can use his legs. But like as you mentioned, one of the things I really like that he does for a young guy is when he's in the pocket, he steps up or even gets out of the pocket.
Right.
He does keep his eyes downfield, and for a young guy to do that shows a lot of moxie and a lot of ability on his part.
Right. So let's shift gears now, Coach. We could always play that woulda, shoulda, coulda. We know that right now the team could be 2-1. I'm not going to take anything away from what happened last week with St. X, but team could be 2-1 as we've talked about. You're not. You're still seeking your first win. But I know that when we were talking earlier this week, as you know, we spent some time together. I don't know if our fans know that, but we spent some time together. And I was just wondering, moving forward, what did you say to your team this week to get them ready to prepare, have the mindset of a victory mindset to really come away with maybe steal a victory on the road?
Well, one of the sayings that I put up on the board is that it's now or never. We talked about that on Monday when we go through kind of the good things we do and the bad things we do, and just kind of summarize and lay out the plan for the week. And the reason I talked to them about that is that this is a talented football team that we have,
Right.
and that we keep talking about. Let's focus on us, continue to make ourselves better and our team better.
Right.
But we're really at that point right now where you can start having a loser mentality creep in.
Sure.
And start to take over when you're 0-3, especially when we've lost some tough ones.
Right.
But these guys, they come to work, and what I'm trying to just encourage them, and I see some guys within the locker room doing the same thing, and our coaching staff is just to continue to encourage them, but have them realize that this is an important week,
Right.
We still got some really good teams on our schedule, especially late in the latter part of our schedule, but this is an opportunity for us to go up and compete and really show, I think, Spartan fans who
Right.
we are and what we're capable of. We play a really good team, but again, it's about us, and I'm confident in our guys and confident in the guys that we're going to be putting on the bus. And I just think that they need to understand that, and they need
Right.
to understand that it is maybe not a desperate end of the world type situation,
Right.
but that now or never seems to be a pretty good fit for them.
Okay. Last question I have. Can you give us an update on any key injury updates?
Kendall is still out.
Okay.
He's kind of day to day. Chances are he'll not play this week,
Okay.
and give him one more week of rest. Jonathan Clements has gotten some work this week with his ankle, so there's a chance that he'll play.
Yep.
Probably won't play a ton, but
Right.
we'll see how he feels on Saturday. Gunnar Griffin, I mentioned him already. He is back getting some reps.
So he has been thrown.
He
Okay, good.
has been throwing, and the injury was to his non-throwing shoulder anyway.
Sure.
So it was more about just getting some mobility in the non-throwing shoulder that
Right.
would allow him to do the whole throwing mechanics. So he's been getting some reps this week. I mentioned Chase. Chase had a little bit of a sore knee, but
Right.
nothing that would totally hold him out if we needed him. So, on that front, I think we're relatively healthy, and we just starting to get a few guys back, which is good.
That's really good. So you guys have a 9-hour bus ride?
Something like that, yeah.
And what time's your game time?
We play at noon, and it's Central Time.
Yep.
In Wisconsin, River Falls, a Division III school. They're in one of the best Division III leagues in the country. So I mean, it's a really good football team. Nobody we can take lightly. So we've got to again show up, execute on our part,
Right.
and do some of the little things. I know last year watching the film, we missed on some passes. They're going to play a lot of man coverage against us. They're going to bring a lot of pressure, and the offensive line and the receivers are going to have to make plays. And ultimately, defensively, we've got to show up and execute better than we did last week.
Okay. So Spartan Fans, there you have it. We will not be hosting the broadcast. However, MBU Athletics Twitter will put out the link for you guys. So if you want to certainly catch the game this Saturday, 12 o'clock Central Time against University of Wisconsin, River Falls. Tune in, see Spartan football. And I don't even know why this is on the list.
I do.
So I'm staying out of this, and I'll let you talk because this is your thing. So
Well,
I'm giving you space even.
Last week, you brought up the Colorado-Nebraska game,
Okay.
which was a big deal between me and Coach Williams and Mike Nolan, who was our former trainer, and Emily Lawrence, who used to be our student trainer a couple years ago, all Nebraska. I mean, I was overwhelmed. But for the first time since, I want to say 2011, the Buffs got the victory. Now, it's the first time since 2011 because they haven't played in that length of time.
Sure.
But my Buffs got the victory over the Huskers, 33-28. Got shirts made. You know what it said?
Hold on, I'm just going to guess it has something to do with frost.
You're right. Scott Frost? Yeah.
Yeah.
Frost melts at 33 degrees, and it was 33-28. Go Buffs.
With that, we're signing off. I am Guy Danhoff with Coach B. You've been watching MBU Athletics.
Did you really get teacher's name?
Well, they did. The team
They
did.
did. Yeah,
The team did. I just saw them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's still on.
It's